there, how's it going? It's me again, Stephanie Roth, health coach for the Creed Area Medical Center. You know what? I've been thinking. Over the past few videos, I may have been a little bossy and possibly annoying. I'm like, you guys, do this, do that, start today, dump your brain, love exercise, pick one thing, and then like pinky swear promise that we can do that forever and ever. Like what? How annoying is that? So most of the time, we all know what to do, but we just can't make ourselves do it. And I believe that good advice is totally worthless unless you know how to make it happen in your life. Okay, but hang on just a moment. So before we talk about the how of habit change, we gotta talk about the why. We all know that habit change is difficult. You've probably heard the statistic that 80% of New Year's resolutions have been tossed aside by the second week of February. And most people I know, they don't make it through the first week. So it just makes sense that everyone needs a reason, something bigger than themselves to keep them going. For example, let's say you're trying to lose some weight to look good for a big class reunion that's coming up. But when coworker Brittany brings 3 dozen donuts plus 2 cheesecakes to celebrate her birthday, will looking good be enough to help you stay strong? Most times, probably not. If you don't have a pretty stellar reason to stick to your goals, cheesecake beats a vanity diet every single time. But what about a different why with a little bit more meaning behind it? Okay, so maybe you had a health scare around the same time that your daughter had a baby. You know all of the junk food and your sky-high BMI and cholesterol, they're catching up with you. But now, things are different. Looking at that perfect little life and her proud parents, you suddenly have like this wave of clarity. The change starts today. And suddenly it's more than looking good and fitting into your gold jeans. It's about being there to do life with the most important people in the world, your family. So simply put, you now have a reason to change, and everybody needs one of those. So I want to tell you a story about my why. And yes, it does involve my boys and the aftermath of Trevin's accident. But here's the deal, you guys. So these videos are meant to be uplifting and not depressing. So I will not tell you the story unless you promise not to be sad or pity me, okay? So over the past 7 years, I have grown and I have learned and I have healed. And I just hope that what I went through can help someone in some small way. So that's why I talk about it. So a few weeks after losing Trevin, I was back at work and nervous about holding it all together. I remember that I was getting ready to go into the mammogram room and start an exam. I know that I was trying my best to like mentally prepare myself to be all this patient was expecting me to be. Professional and happy and smiling as I stepped into the room. But the problem was, my emotions at that moment were like the exact polar opposite of professional and happy and smiling. I remember standing at the sink outside the room and letting the water run over my hands and let my mind run wild with agonizing thoughts of Trevin and all that we had lost. Suddenly, I like snapped back into reality, and instinctively I said, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Just trying to soothe my jagged emotions. When I realized the absurdity of my it's okay thought, I got mad. No, actually it's not okay, and seriously, if I want to get real right now, this will never be okay again. And then suddenly, a picture like flashed onto the whiteboard of my mind. It was familiar. I had just taken it a few weeks prior. It was Tyler, my youngest son, peering over a plate of like sugary goodness. So in my mind's eye, I could see Tyler, his sweet face, his big trusting eyes, and at that moment, I remembered my all-important reason to push through. It was my little 12-year-old boy at home. I knew that I couldn't allow my brain to run amok, or I would never survive the next exam, let alone the day or the rest of my life. So most days I was strong and I did the hard work and I pushed through for Tyler when I might not have been able to do the same for myself. So Tyler, bless his heart, he was my why. So now the big question though, what is your why? What is that one thing important enough that you are willing to do the hard work, to make the sacrifices and endure the pain? Your why, it pulls on your heartstrings and it propels you forward into action when it would be so much easier to just quit. So your first assignment, if you're playing along, is to find your why. So write this down, you guys, so you don't forget, okay? Okay, so now that we've talked about the why, let's switch gears and discover the how behind habit change. A while back, I ran across a book by Mel Robbins. It's called The 5-Second Rule. She has a TED Talk that's pretty incredible, so you should check it out. She's definitely like a tough little cookie who cuts the crap and just gives it to you straight, and I think that's why I like her. So Mel says that you change your life one 5-second decision at a time. In fact, it's the only way to change. Change your life in 5 seconds. That sounds fairly amazing, right? So here's another quote of hers that I love, and I use this with all my clients. Knowing what to do will never be enough. Knowing why you need to do it will never be enough. So what we need is something that's going to launch us into a state of action. Because if you're sitting around waiting for motivation, I'm here to tell you, it's not coming. If you don't start doing the things you don't feel like doing, you will wake up 1 year from today and be in exactly the same place. Okay, so here's the one-liner definition of the 5-second rule. If you have an impulse to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds or your brain will totally kill the idea. Okay, so that was all Mel Robbins' quote. That was not me. But did you hear that? Your own brain is sabotaging your efforts as if life isn't hard enough, right? So Mel teaches a technique that kind of interrupts the habit loops of the brain and is super, super simple. Okay, so you think of something that you should do. Maybe like exercising, getting up out of bed, or unloading the dishwasher. So before your brain has time to basically talk you out of it, you just count backwards from 5 and then you just do it. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. That sounds way too simple to even work. Well, I don't want to bore you with all of the scientific reasons why, like it does work. You can check out our book for that if you'd like. But take it from me, what would I call myself? Probably like a recovering professional procrastinator. Yeah, that was totally me. I'm telling you guys, it works. Okay, for example, let's say you decide to make exercise a regular part of your morning routine. When your alarm clock rings, what is the right thing to do? Is it to hit snooze and to go back to sleep for another 9 glorious minutes? Even though that is very tempting, that's not it. So remember, we are going about the business of life change. So you simply 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and get out of bed. It's as simple and difficult as that. But let me warn you, when you're used to hitting snooze and you leap from your bed instead, I gotta say, it burns just a bit. But don't worry, the pain of being upright is gone in less than, I'd say like 30 seconds. And then you're on track for an incredibly productive day. So if you don't get up immediately, guess what happens? So you are vulnerable to the schemes and the trickery of your mind. So this is how the conversation usually goes in my little head. Okay, so I'm sleeping peacefully, the alarm clock rings, I shut it off, and immediately my brain starts in. It might say, hey, psst, Steph, So you got to bed late last night and you know you did not sleep well. So sleep is so important. You teach this. So what do you say we go back to sleep and we talk about all this exercise stuff again tomorrow? Or when I walk into our spare room and I see the treadmill staring back at me. Now I know that my goal is to exercise every morning for 30 minutes, but I still don't want to. Every fiber of my being is screaming, go get that coffee, extra cream and sugar, and the couch. Oh, the couch and your kitten is calling. Go sit there, woman. But no, I am in control. So it's simply 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go and do this thing. So we have to be on guard against the craftiness of our brain. And really, this 5-second rule can be used in many different areas of life, from diet and exercise to work projects and home decluttering, parenting, anxiety, the whole bit. So just remember, when you have an impulse to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds, or what happens? You got it. Your brain, it kills the idea. So don't whine, don't procrastinate, don't complain, just do it, like Nike says, and I promise your future self will thank you for it, for sure. Okay, in review, assignment number 1 for the week is to discover your why. And assignment number 2 is to take the 5-second rule for a spin. Take it for a little test drive. Once again, if you'd like to let me know how it's all going, my email is at the bottom, and I would love to hear from you, for sure. So send them on in. That's all for today. Join me next week when we talk about, what do I want to call it? It's like the elephant in the room, you know, that 4-letter word that like trips us up and it weighs us down and it makes us crazy. It's food. I'll see you next week. Bye.